What is going on, and welcome to another vlog. I genuinely have had a really busy week this week. So today is Thursday. I'm just finishing up my surgical center half day this morning. And I'm just now recording stuff. So this weekend we're heading to LA. Actually right now I'm off tomorrow. So we're gonna be heading to LA in just a second. But in doing that, I've been pretty busy with the week of preparing content, a whole bunch of other stuff. So I haven't really had time to record a vlog. So I figured today is just gonna be a little bit of a reflection of where I'm at in fellowship and kind of where things are at as far as medicine goes. So let's kind of talk about my experience with fellowship so far and what my kind of experiences have been with a NAS fellowship. If you are new to the channel, I am a sports and spine fellow, and this is not a traditional route, quote unquote. It's something that is a little bit more geared towards spine and sports medicine versus just doing either spine or just sports. So it's a combination of the both. And I chose this route because I thought it fit my kind of skill set, or the skill set that I wanted the most, as well as the mindset of approaching patient care the most. And let me say, number one, right off the bat, I have not been happier with that decision. I think leaving here in fellowship in the next month and a half, I am extremely prepared for what I want to see and the exact way that I wanted to practice and the way that I envisioned practicing myself. I came into this fellowship wanting to be able to expand my procedural skills as far as axial procedures and peripheral procedures, and I have done exactly that and more. I feel extremely confident in being able to kind of treat whatever it is, do whatever procedure that I need to do, because I've developed really good needle skills as well as good anatomy, as well as just general guidance skills. So even if it's something I didn't necessarily do while I was in fellowship here, then I have all those tools and skills needed to be able to be like, hey, I'm pretty sure I could do that, and then do it. While I've been here, I've had great experiences and overall just getting a bunch of volume of seeing patients and then also doing procedures. So while I've been in fellowship here, I've probably seen thousands of patients, and in seeing thousands of patients, you see a bunch of different varieties of how things can pop up and present. Because at the end of the day, not everything is cookie cutter in medicine. That's why we're trained to be physicians. We get so much training in that. And part of that is things like this fellowship where, let's say you're doing a cookie cutter path and something goes off that track. Now you have to think, what could it be? What could I change? How can we actually help this patient? So in going through so many patient encounters, you develop a little bit more of that mindset. You see patterns develop and you understand why things might go wrong, why things are going right in certain cases and whatnot. So just overall volume is great. And also you get to see more or less rare conditions the more patients you see. So for example, a myositis or a disease of muscle wasting is something that I have not seen so far. And I saw one 2 weeks ago now. So it's things like that which are extremely rare in the community that you might not otherwise see, but as you see more patients, you get to experience it, and then you get to see it, learn from it. When it comes to procedures, I've also done probably close to 2,000 procedures while I've been here. And once again, that is a numbers game. So it's the opportunity to encounter a bunch of different variations of what something may present as, to be able to take over whatever encounter it is. So for example, once again, going back to the cookie cutter thing, sure, you see what's in anatomy textbooks, you see what's in the textbooks as far as how you're supposed to do a procedure, but every single person has unique and different anatomy. So sure, I know generally the steps of how to do the procedure in perfectly perfect anatomy, but everyone's anatomy is not perfect. There's a bunch of variations. So just having the numbers of being able to do procedures in a bunch of different conditions prepares you and trains you so that you can do it in any circumstance and be able to complete the procedure. There's a bunch of fellowships out there that don't get you even near any sort of thousands of procedures, and I just don't think you'll be prepared to do procedures independently if you have not seen every single possible variety of what could present. So for example, there's places out there where you don't do something like, let's say, a cervical transforaminal epidural injection, which is theoretically a higher risk procedure, and you want to make sure that you have good exposure to it and you're able to be confident in doing it. If you, let's say, leave fellowship doing 15 to 20 of them, sure, you've done them, but do you really feel confident to encounter any sort of anatomy that you see? Meanwhile here, I've probably done 100, maybe a little bit more than that, which makes me relatively confident in that no matter what the anatomy kind of looks like, I'll be able to navigate that and perform the procedure safely. And then the last part about my fellowship that really stands out, that I think has been absolutely outstanding, is the aspect of business. It's a little bit of a taboo aspect in medicine because we're all here for patient care, which we 100% are, but also you have to make sure that you are getting paid appropriately for the things that you do, because we spend so much time training, so much time making sure that we're doing the right thing for patients, and usually a lot of times in medicine, billing isn't a complete afterthought, and you end up not really getting paid, and that contributes partly to burnout. So I think in our fellowship, being a private practice, it is something that's definitely taught and as well as kind of enforced on a daily basis of, hey, I've done all this for the patient, I've done the correct things. Now, how do I appropriately bill for it? So I've been doing that essentially since day one of fellowship, and now leaving here after an entire year, I'm pretty confident in my billing. I know what the process looks like of kind of patient care, of patients coming in, getting referrals, and then sending referrals out, billing patients, receiving that money back, all those different kind of intricacies and nuances that go on with that. I feel like I've learned a ton about that, and I feel fairly confident. And what happens a lot of times is when fellows go out into their practice, and let's say they're going from an academic to a private practice setting, they don't know how that works. So a lot of times they're just missing out in collections. And part of that is not necessarily just putting the billing in to the computer or the system, but also being able to support and use the correct terminology and notes to be able to actually say that. So let's say you are trying to bill for certain procedures that was the actual correct procedure for this patient. If you don't put certain verbiage in your note for that, and let's say you still bill for that procedure, you might just not get paid. Which is a reality in medicine, that you did all this work and you don't get paid for it, which is frustrating to say the least. So it's not just the actual putting things into the computer, but it's the terminology and the things that you put in your documentation that also make a difference. That is something that you just kind of have to know some of the intricacies and nuances for. And that's something I've been doing for the entire year that I'm really happy about. And leaving here, I'll be prepared to hit the ground running no matter what it is. All in all, more or less to say, I am extremely happy with where I'm at in fellowship right now with about a month and a half left. Pretty much what I have left to do is make sure that I'm seeing a lot more of the rarer things and things that I don't have quite as much procedural experience on. And that's more or less the advanced procedures. And those things just are rarer in medicine overall. More or less to say, at this point, I am extremely happy with where I'm at in fellowship. I have about a month and a half left. And at this point, pretty much what I want to do and focus on is making sure that I'm seeing some more of the rarer things. So that's usually procedural things. So it's just things that you are not going to get a lot of numbers on because there's just not that many patients that require these procedures. So things like kyphoplasties are not necessarily as common because everyone doesn't need a kyphoplasty for treatment. Things like spinal cord stimulator trials, because everyone doesn't need that. So the numbers are definitely smaller. But these are also procedures where once you know the anatomy, once you know the technique, it's not quite as difficult. So just getting a little bit of procedural experience in that is going to be great. It's not like I haven't done any. I've done obviously several of those while I've been here already. But it's just getting a little bit more reps on, so I'm 100% comfortable when I get on independently to be able to do these without any sort of supervision there. Overall, I am extremely happy with my fellowship experience. I would 100% recommend this route as far as training, especially my program, to anyone out there who's interested in this kind of practice of sports, spine, hybrid, of being able to kind of take care of people and making sure we get them moving in an ethical and responsible way while still learning the intricacies and the business of medicine. Apologize for the kind of haphazard vlog / reflections video here. I'm just driving home from my procedural day this morning, so hopefully you got something out of this video, and if you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll vlog a little bit of my LA adventure that's coming up, and then the weekend after that we're heading to New York. The weekend after that we're going to Minneapolis, so there's a lot of fun stuff coming. I guess generally and whatnot of the life of what I live here. And if you find it interesting, like I said, subscribe. If you have any questions related to medicine, related to my fellowship, all that kind of stuff, find me on Instagram at themskdoc, or just leave a comment down here. I'm happy to help out, respond, do whatever I can to try to help you all on your journey. But with that being said, I'm out. I'll see you in the next one.